Join PCTechForum.net is a new site. It's a way of discussing everything related to tech news. They'll be discussing the latest processors, graphic cards, laptops, hard drives, computer cases. They also have a section for pre-built PCs and custom-built PCs, and also a PC straight from the manufacturer. They also be discussing the operating systems and how to troubleshoot them. And said, last but not least, they'll also be discussing the latest games and business. The site is brand new, so people will join for the first time on there. So come and sign up today at PCTechForum.net. So we have one of our Jamaican sisters that's going to break down who really started the Black Americans are lazy trope, and how that, evil lying trope that's spread like an infection throughout the diaspora. Let's go ahead and roll that.
So I want to respond to this quickly because I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in a way they do is because this was taught to us by white America. This is part of what I'm studying now in my graduate program. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay. Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work. And when they came here, the white farm owners and those agricultural people told them and ingrained in them that the reason that they have to come to work is because African Americans don't want a job, right? They went back home and they carried the same message and told the people there. And so this is a trope that has been passed on for decades and decades, year after year, as more and more come. That is what they care, because that's what they have been told. Now, when you come and you live amongst African Americans, and if you really look into the history and look at the systemic racism, you'll know that is not true. But then you also realize how difficult it is when someone grew up and was taught a certain kind of saying or a certain kind of belief. It's very difficult to get it out of them. So I know that it is not true. I know that it's because people want decent wages for the work that they do. But yeah, it is absolutely true that a lot of Caribbean people, Jamaicans included, and other diaspora people have bought into this trope that African Americans are lazy.
So as you heard, as this sister broke it down, is that the white supremacist was upset that Black Americans wanted to be paid fairly. We did not want no slavery wages. We didn't want no low wages. So what the white supremacists decided to do was, I don't want to pay decent labor. Let me go it on and go to the Caribbean, who is still, underneath the British, and let's bring them over here. And then when they come over here, they say, oh, well, see, we bringing y'all in because y'all work hard and they lazy. Well, the lazy was because we wanted to get paid. Just like we became lazy after we stopped working for free with slave labor. You understand? That's where this Black Americans are lazy trope comes from. The author of the Diaspora Wars, and it's not really a war, it's just a different ideologies that we have due to culture, the white supremacists throwing in his confusion. All this mess centers back to the white supremacists. So let me tell you something. People in the Caribbean didn't really grow up around us like that. I'm talking about people in the Caribbean. We didn't grow up around them. People on the African continent didn't grow up around us like that. We didn't grow up around them. You understand what I'm saying? The white supremacists, even when you talk about the African booty scratcher comment that they love to talk about so much, and I tell people, I was called African booty scratcher. And I was born here in America. I wasn't born over there. But you know who the author of that is? The white supremacists. Let me explain to you why. The white supremacists on National Geographic, any images that we saw of the African continent, it was always way deep in the village somewhere, no development, no anything. And they will show these tribes and all of that. And then these bugs that would be biting, the brothers and sisters, right? And then, of course, if the bugs are biting you on your butt, you scratching it, right? Well, that's where that comes from. We did not put no images out there of African people in the village having bugs biting them and scratching themselves. Listen, if a bug bite me, I'm going to scratch myself too. Mosquitoes, whatever. I mean, that's just normal. You're not going to sit there and have a mosquito biting you and it doesn't itch. Okay? Those images of the African continent of feed the children and the most dilapidated things. It came from them. It was no black Americans that went over to the continent at that time period, because we weren't in a position to film anything. So that image of poor, dilapidated, while a lot of black Americans are like, I don't want to be over there, man, forget that. When you see the images of feed the children and the bones of children and flies flying around them and the white people giving them rice and all that, in black America's mind, like, I don't want, oh, hell no. We ain't like that. But they're not showing you the other parts of it where nobody is, you know what I'm saying? It was all done by design. So we always have to remember the white supremacist is always the author of confusion within the black world. And unfortunately, some of us has picked that up and we ran with it. But the author of that confusion is the white supremacist. Yes, we talk about different mindsets that come over, across into America now, because we all have different cultures. You understand? We have things from slavery. They have things from colonization. You do have a raccoon class in black America. Yes, you do. Just as much you got a raccoon class in the Caribbean and a raccoon class in the continent of Africa and a raccoon class that's in Latin America among the Afro-Latinos. That is a given. We have that. No group is exempt from that. But we also got brothers and sisters who are about the right thing too. Brothers and sisters that want to unify, do the right thing. We have that all over. And that's the people that I will link up with. That's the people that I want to work with, unify, do business with, etc. So this, sister, our Jamaican sister here, my support goes out to her. Shout out to our sister and brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, who understand the white supremacists and what it is. And listen, they waking up too. They waking up to the lies of the white supremacists. They waking up. They understand and they seeing that, wait a minute, why in the hell are we still in a Commonwealth since his queen died? That's been waking up a lot of people now. And that's good. All Caribbean and African nations need to get out of the Commonwealth. What you need to be in that for? But this black Americans are lazy trope. It comes from the white supremacists. Because during slavery, we wasn't called lazy, were we? When we built America, we was only lazy when they couldn't have us enslaved anymore. That's when we became lazy. We were lazy when we demand fair wages for our work. That's when we became lazy. And also, let me tell you another thing. Now they have to pay Caribbean people right too. So you know what they're doing? All the people that's coming from Latin America, they're doing them the same thing they did to us. They're not paying them anything. They're mistreating them. Do you know recently they just caught them having a slavery ring in America with people from Latin America? Do you know that? They were paying them 20 cents for a bucket of onions. 20 cents. It wasn't making nothing, sometimes but $1 or so a day. They were violating the women out there. They kept them in an area with trailers and electric fence. The feds just went busted them for a whole slavery ring. And my wife told me that a while back before that story come out. She said, oh, all them people that's coming across the border, that's their new slaves. That's why they letting them in here like that. That's why they doing what they doing. And then that came out. They had a whole slavery ring. Because America do not want to pay equal and fair wages to nobody. So they rather people from developing nations who are suffering and their countries are suffering because of the white supremacist policies that extracted their resources and pulled everything out. And those people have to come up here. They're not telling you that part of the story, but they want them to work for slavery wages. And then we as American citizens get upset sometime about immigrants, and say, why they giving them all these resources? Oh, well, they're giving it to them because they want them to be the new slaves. That's what it is. And that's wrong. They misusing them people. And then at the same time, they play a game like, hey, them people doing this to y'all and look what we doing. And all that they do, people don't research. Look at all the money they're giving Ukraine. Why are people in America not raising hell about Ukraine? Why are they getting billions of dollars every time I look up? They're cutting checks, billions of dollars for Ukraine. But the same people, now, when you talk about reparations, why should I have to pay reparations? Why should you have to pay for Ukraine? You had nothing to do with that either, right? But yeah, this is good. All these conversations is good because it's not no diaspora war. That's not what it is. It's not. Black America, the black people in the Caribbean, Africans, man, we just have different cultures, different ideologies. We're going to work all that mess out. We'll be fine. These conversations have to be had. And one thing we got to do is get rid of those lies. Like black Americans are lazy. If black Americans are lazy, America wouldn't be the place to be, correct? Because last time I checked, black America built America and helped innovate America with all the inventions that we came up with. All these lights I got on me right now, it wouldn't be for a black American. I sure would be in the dark, wouldn't I? There you go. But y'all let me know what y'all think about, our sister here, definitely just putting out the truth. And that's what we need. We need more of our Caribbean and African brothers and sisters exposing the lies of the devil. Hey family, make sure you join us on the new and improved AfricanDiasporaNews.org. Now it is our uncensored and raw truth website. We have to make sure to have our own website because on social media platforms, they do have rules, and at any time they could change a rule and shut a whole genre down. Now that would not happen to us because on AfricanDiasporaNews.org, we can speak the truth. We don't have to hold back. So make sure you join our website today.